What's up, show?
Hey.
Steven David Lampley.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm about to drown down here, man. The rain, you know.
What's that?
I'm about to drown down here, man. The rain won't quit.
Oh, is it raining there?
Yeah, man. It's been raining for like 6 months or so.
We had like
6
3
months.
days straight, I want to say, and it was really, really rough.
Yep.
Really rough, Steven.
How y'all been doing since last time?
We've been good. I see you've been stepping it up too. You've been doing some radio and writing another book.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to stay busy. You can't sit back and just, you know, whatever the last book did. Okay, well, you know, do well. You got to keep going. So yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So yeah, I got another one coming out about Jeffrey Dahmer. It'll be coming out March the 31st, and then I'll have another one, my first foray into a psychological thriller fiction.
Yes.
Will be coming out this winter sometime.
Cool. Right. What's that one titled? 2 days?
2 days.
Okay.
2 days.
Cool.
Steven,
in a nutshell, it's about a retiring detective who's pretty much apathetic. His career's over, but he's got one more case, and I'm going to leave it at that.
it sounds interesting. I got a question. Did you see My Friend Dahmer?
You know, I have not. I've seen the trailer to it. I have. You know, my ex-wife. I've been married a couple of times, and my last ex-wife kept asking me when we were married. She says, "Have you seen this?" No. Have you seen? No. And she called me theatrically challenged, so I have not seen that.
Okay, I haven't either. I was just gonna wonder, like, what was your take on it? Because it looked really interesting, like seeing the trailer and stuff. It looked pretty good.
I want to see it.
Yeah, no, I have not actually. I would like to, but I haven't as yet.
Okay. What do you feel like? Do you feel like it would do justice, or like do you feel like it would be accurate?
Well, I think the basis of that was like that's supposed to be Dahmer in high school. Like that's somebody saying like that they. Yeah. I guess if somebody wrote a book that they claimed they went to high school with Dahmer, and that's what that movie is.
I did hear that, and it was like right after like their experience with him is when he started or something. I think like is that what it is?
Maybe been a couple years later, but it might have been one of those cases where like it was clear since he went to high school that he was going to be a killer.
I heard the story like they wanted that person to go back to his house with him, and like he wanted to kill them, and that person didn't go back. I thought.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was written by, as I understand, it was written by a fellow schoolmate of his who knew him there at school and was there when some of Dahmer's antics and, as they call it, doing a Dahmer. They nicknamed what they were doing these stupid little silly acts. They called it doing a Dahmer. And well, you know, Jeffrey actually had a little notoriety in high school, although he was quiet and sort of an outcast. He had a little notoriety. He was doing some really silly things. So, but I think it was written by a former classmate of his.
When you interacted with him, what was he like?
He was nice. He was cordial. He was friendly, intelligent, quiet. But he was a nice guy. You know, I can't. You know, what I get a lot of times from folks is when they find out that I had some association with him or that he was there. They look around like it's some big secret. They'll look around. They'll lean over into me and they'll say, "What was he really like?" You know.
I was going to say, was there?
What you're looking for is you want me to tell you that he was some under the bridge knuckle dragging ogre.
Yeah,
but that's not the case.
I just didn't know if there were any signs that like now you would have picked up on, like that you didn't at the time.
No, you know, I was on the radio show here not too long ago with Dave Schrader, who does fill in for George Norrie's Coast to Coast. And he asked me the same question. He said, knowing now, he said, you've been a police officer all these years.
Yeah.
He said, you go back and look at it. Was there something that you could have picked up on? No, there's not a thing.
That's what I didn't know.
Here's the thing about him. Like, all right, so you see other.
He knew him.
No. I'm making. You see like interviews with other serial killers, like Gacy and Bundy. Like, it's everyone else's fault but their own, or like Gacy would like straight up lie about it, but Dahmer was just like, yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
That's me. That's what I did. He didn't even try to make any excuses for himself.
Really?
So.
I think he had said to that investigator, I forget what that investigator's name was, but he like told him like, I have a problem. I have all these dead bodies in my basement. Like he just said it. He's like, I have a problem.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's an understatement.
We're like Bundy will just make you mad when you watch his interviews.
It's like one of those things like my mom or my dad.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it was pornography.
Or
pornography
something.
made me go and kill those girls.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, you know, Jeffrey didn't make any excuses. And in research for, of course, I knew Jeffrey very briefly when we were in the Army together, but I managed to get my hands on the FBI case file. There's like 1,200 pages of that. And I got a copy of his confession, and I read through it twice, all of it. And Jeffrey made no excuses for what he did. He didn't say... he was asked by the investigators, you know, did pornography have something to do with this? Did your unhappy childhood parts of it? You know, no. He said nothing. Nothing made me. This is just me. You know, I made no excuses for what I did. It was wrong. So.
Wow. That's crazy.
But yeah, he was. Back to your question, he was a nice guy. You know, he would sit around, eat meals together, and drink beer and chit chat.
I was gonna say, I know you said you had a beer with him.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know why this thought popped in my head when you were telling us how like people look around and stuff when you say like, oh, I knew Jeffrey Dahmer, and they look around. One of these days somebody's gonna be like looking around and they lean in and they're gonna be like, did he have a big dick?
Oh, no, that's gonna be you, Slim. Steven, I would get a restraining order right now against Slim. Like, I don't see this ending well, Steven.
But no, he was just a regular guy.
Yeah.
There was nothing that stood. Of course, I guess fortunate for all of us that were with him there that day, or those days rather. We went nowhere with him. You know, we didn't go off. And going back now, of course, reading the FBI case files and reading Jeffrey's confession, he actually had no interest in killing anyone during his service years. From the time he was at Fort McClellan when he flunked out of the NP school and then got reassigned to Fort Sam for the medical part, all the way up and through until his ending time at Baumhauer, Germany, when he got sent back.
See, I figured that would have kept going.
I kind of feel like with Jeffrey Dahmer, if someone had caught it like while he was
early enough,
like while he was a kid, they might have been able to somewhat fix him.
Wow.
Where there's like other serial killers that are just plain like
just psychotic.
Yeah.
Or you don't think he was completely broken? I guess what you're saying.
I think he was a little nuts, and he needed something.
Just needed guidance.
Yeah,
so it's like a father figure or something.
Something wasn't firing off right in his.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Somebody just needed to pull that kid aside and say, "Hey, don't kill people when you grow up."
You know, his dad, he was still living. Jeffrey's dad's still living. He was on Larry King. I don't remember when it was, some years back, and he was making the case for, you know, maybe someone should have interacted. Maybe well, there was nothing there. Yeah, one major thing that happened with Jeffrey when he was growing up was he would just turn 4 years old. He was a very happy, very outgoing, laughing child, as you would be. You know, most kids are at 4. Well, he developed a hernia and had to go have surgery for that hernia. Well, he came back home. He was different.
Oh, wow.
They noticed a markedly different Jeffrey. And the Jeffrey that existed before that never came back.
Wow.
I would look into who the fuck took care of that hernia.
Yeah.
Like, who's the doctor on that case?
What
was that fucking dude that was like doing lobotomies on people?
Yeah, there's something there.
You know, so Jeffrey from that point on was reserved, very quiet.
Yeah.
And he stayed that way the rest of his life.
Dr. Robinstein, how could you?
Yeah, wow. Steven, I saw you're doing a Comic-Con. It's not Comic-Con, CrimeCon. You're going to be appearing.
Yes, I was very humbled by the opportunity to do that. I mean, we're talking about Nancy Grace and Ashley Banfield and Erin Moriarty, and me. Well, which one doesn't belong, right? So, yeah, it's going to be in May, and I was really, really honored and really fortunate to be able to be a part of that.
Did they ask you to be there? That's really cool.
And I'm going to be. I'm not going to be on the main stage. That's going to be Nancy Grace and those people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be be presenting the seminar on how to catch a liar to the group, which is pretty awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's going to be May the 4th, 5th, and 6th in Nashville, and I'm sort of stoked about that. That's a really amazing opportunity to be able to go there and talk and then spend time with some of the top dogs in the true crime field on television.
That's fucking awesome. That's really cool. Really cool. Wow.
So you guys come down and grab yourself a VIP pass and come on down.
Slim, give me your credit card. Slambo.
It's maxed out.
Slambo, you got it good?
Nah, I want one of them.
All right, give me that one. Give me that one. All I need is one. Stephen, I wanted to ask you, as retired special victims unit detective and all that, I'm sure you've seen a lot of ugly in people, but is there anything you saw in a case that was good? Like, did you ever see anything that just was good?
Well, Rob, and most police calls, probably 99 point whatever percentage you want to toss on the end of that, most police calls are not good stuff. Police don't ever get a call and say, "Hey, come to my birthday party and have fun."
Yeah, you never get to see people in their best. Exactly.
He slapped me, he stabbed me, he killed me, he killed my brother, and it's that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So there's often not a lot of good that comes of calls a lot of times. Now, probably one call that sticks in my mind that's in my book, Outside Your Door, which, by the way, is doing really well. I'm tickled with that. Is a story that's not criminal in nature, but I guess more of a humanistic. I got called to the East Precinct when I was with the Birmingham Police Department, and there was a gentleman. Well, actually, I was already at the police department. A gentleman came in, and you could tell he was upset. He was very upset. He had been crying. And then came into the police department and told us the story of he wanted us to take his children. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, my brain just fried. What do you mean you want us to take your children? He said, well, I'm unemployed. My wife's unemployed. We don't have any money. We can't feed our children. We have no power.
Wow.
We may have to do that, that situation. So a sergeant and I and a couple other officers go to his house. Indeed, there was no power. And we, of course, had to call the Department of Human Resources, and we had no option. After seeing that, we had to take the children. Of course, there wasn't much of my eyes were wet. The sergeant's eyes were wet. Everybody was crying. It was a big cry fest.
Yeah.
And we placed the children with DHR, and as with a lot of police calls, once you handle a call, it's usually the last you ever know about it. You don't ever hear about a follow-up. You don't ever hear of what happened.
Yeah.
That's the way it normally is with a street officer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was, I don't remember. It was probably 3 or 4 months later. I get a call to the police department and go in, and it's the same gentleman. His wife is with him this time, and they're smiling. Of course, I knew something had changed, and he hugged me. Him and his wife both hugged me and said, "Thank you for what you did." He said, we're both employed now. We both have good jobs. We have a home, and we have our children back.
Oh wow!
And I want to thank you for helping us. And there are good times. There are good times, but they're not often.
Yeah. Wow. That's.
I had to take a lot of courage for that guy to go to the police station and admit that and say I can't.
Yeah. That too. Just in the first place,
To tell somebody like
heartwarming, like
yeah,
I can't provide or whatever. Yeah, like
because there's some people that
that would just
somebody
like
that murder their kids or whatever and like shit like that. That's
would just like be like, well, I guess we're just gonna go dig some trash up tonight for you guys to eat, like like shit like that, like
Oh my god. Wow.
So yeah, there are some good. There's some good things that happen every once in a while, but they're not often.
Not often. Like you said, nobody's. You're not seeing people in their finest usually.
So Steven, what would happen right now if I called the cops and was just like, "Hey, come do our radio show with us"? Would they be like,
They might be down. Like,
you probably have a lot of takers.
So 3 police cars will show.
And we get some PBA cards and all that good stuff. I like that. Steven, what's the radio show you're doing? Is it Steven's True Crime Commentary?
It is. It's started off doing a interview for the radio station, and after the interview was over, the producer and I talked for a little bit, and he said, "Well, we'll have to have you come back on, and maybe who knows, maybe do a guest host for you." I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I never guest hosted before, which I've learned since it's not my forte. I'll stick to writing. He said, and it wasn't long. I think maybe a couple of weeks after that, he contacted me and said, "How would you like to do a weekly commentary for our radio show?" Well, I'm like, "Well, of course, sure." So we started out. I was doing one a week for a station in Seattle, KKNW, and then we started growing. We're actually now, Reader's Digest version, we're on 6 radio stations across the country now.
I thought so. I thought I saw a bunch.
Going from one day a week, and now we're airing on some of them 5 days a week, and so it's growing. I'm happy with it.
Cool. That's awesome. Is that a weekly thing? Is it monthly?
Well, my show is pretty much weekly. There are some rebroadcasts of some of my commentaries, but we're on some stations we're once a week. On others, we're 3 times a week, and then on a couple of stations, we're on there 5 days a week.
Cool. And do you do it alone, or do you do it with a co-host?
I do my commentary alone. It's around 10 minutes long. It's on different topics. A lot of times it's on a topic like forensics or something, where I'm actually telling people about what that is, or how it works, or how it transpires, or how all that takes place. Because in any given week, these crime shows like Law and Order SVU, and the shows similar to that, we're talking a viewer number in the tens of, like 10 or 12 million people a week watch those shows. The problem with those shows is that they're entertainment. Now they may be based on truth, some of them, but they're entertainment. And this information that they give, where you're getting DNA back in 30 minutes, or you're solving a homicide in 10 minutes, that doesn't happen. So what I'm trying to do is impart some information that this is the way it really works, and it's been very well received. I'm very happy with it.
Awesome. That's very cool.
That's what my dad was a police officer for like 20 some years, and he could never watch like crime or like police officer shows. No, because it was just not like, it was just not how it really works. Like,
yeah, I don't watch them. I never watched Cops. I take that back. I watched Cops. Not Cops. Yeah. But America's Most Wanted. I'm sorry. I watched America's Most Wanted like a handful of times, but I don't watch them. I'm not into. I did it for 21 years. I don't want to sit and watch it. I don't want to watch that show. So yeah. But yeah. But I feel your dad's pain. I understand exactly.
What Steven, is there anything you've done that you want to do that like you've acted, you've written books, you're on the radio? Is there anything that you want to pursue?
Yeah, I would be interested in doing some television, true crime television or something. Of course, there's so many variations, so many opportunities, and so many different things out there. I would be interested in doing something on television, perhaps. But my main thing is writing. That's what I really want to do is write the books. But I would be interested in doing a little TV stint if it came up.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Very cool. So I'm sorry. When is Jeffrey Dahmer by Friend coming out?
It'll be out next month. It'll be the 31st of next month. It'll actually be out a little bit before that. We're going to make some advanced copies available to some people. There's going to be since the last book that I had come out, we had a lot of interest in people wanting to have signed and numbered copies. So we're going to do that again. We're going to have 5 proof copies from the publisher that are printed proof copies. There's only going to be 5 of those available, and then we're going to have numbered books from 1 to 500 autographed, and then of course we'll have the regular autographed and then the regular books. But we're going to do the same thing this time as we did last time. People seem to like that.
Cool. Very cool, Stephen. And where will that be available on?
It'll be available on Amazon and Books A Million and Barnes & Noble, and I suspect that Schuler's, which is, I think, predominantly up in the Northwest, will also be carrying it.
Are you going to be doing them book signings at the CrimeCon?
Right now, we don't have. Oh, at CrimeCon, I don't know. They haven't gotten me the schedule. They're still working on the schedule. Matter of fact, Aaron Moriarty just was added this last week to the lineup, so they're still working on the schedule. So I don't know what day or what days, if I'll be there one day or all 3. I don't know how that's going to work out. So I'm really not sure yet how that's going to take place.
Cool. Stephen, thank you so much for talking to us again. You're an amazing guest, and I just wanted to ask, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on my website, www.stephendavidlampley.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and yada, yada, yada. But website is stephendavidlampley.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen.
Listen, I thank you guys. Y'all doing a great job, and I look forward to hollering at y'all again.
I can't wait, brother.
Can't
wait,
Stephen.
Stephen.
All right, man.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.